Huh. Well, that was easy enough. Okay, for those of you who probably just clicked on this, this is a live stream that I'm doing. Well, obviously, if you've seen the video itself. Now, there are three indistinct videos that I've made previously that are, well, one of them was mostly the first one's mostly comedy, but it does give you a solution for counter surveillance. Now, I'm going to get into a few other things that are going to be some solutions here. Number one, this is going to be for both shielding and detoxing. Okay, so geoengineering. Geoengineering is when they have been spraying these chemical compounds all throughout the skies through these trails that they've been leaving out and about, right? So as they do that, this stuff is basically blanketing just about anything it's touching through the air currents. This involves the crops as well as the ground, the trees, even people's houses, everything, even the streets, the sidewalks, you name it, everything it touches, it literally blankets. And they're doing this in waves after wave after wave every single day. And it's to blanket an entire surveillance network throughout the entire area of where they're doing this at. So, because of this being in the air currents, this does get inside your body because you're breathing the oxygen that it's in. Unfortunately, this does infect the crops as well. Now, the crops is one of the important things, food in general is one of the important things I wanted to discuss on this. Now, foods such as oranges, bananas, stuff that's going to have like an outer layer, that's going to have a small percentage of protection from that nano. Unfortunately, the food is still going to be somewhat intoxified with this junk. So your best bet is while you're detoxing this stuff out of your system, you want to lessen. You still want to be able to be able to eat food, but you want to at least lessen that how much more nano you're basically delivering into your system with the food you're eating and the water you're drinking. The second video that I posted talks about the nano domestic quail, which is very important because that shows documents actual proof that they're literally deliberately are allowing this stuff in the soft drinks and the municipal water supply and so much more, even in the tap water. So in case people are wondering, when it comes to targeted individuals, this is where all this stuff is stemming from. The nano itself is inert, and when it's in the body, meaning it's not currently active, it's just there. They can activate this stuff via drone, cell tower, satellite, you name it. It's only going to be turned on when they choose to turn it on. But the threat is still there. Now, you can detox this junk by using an anti-nano bucket, but it isn't going to do you any good if you're constantly consuming foods that is completely just bombarded with this nano stuff, because as you're trying to detox it out of the body, it's just basically going right back in the body, basically. Same thing with the water and so much and so forth. The best thing I could really give advice about, make a the best thing you can do is technically make yourself a garden, grow your own food, because at least that way you know for a fact the nutrients of that food will still be there and it won't be compromised. If you choose to do this, make sure that you do have a greenhouse around this garden. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to be in a secure area with this, because 9 times out of 10, the perpetrators may seek to mess with that. Let me tell you, they talk a lot of garbage, dude, but If you've seen how desperate they are to keep you integrated into this system, it's bizarre. It it really is. I have never in all my life seen people act the way that any of these individuals have acted, and it's just really bizarre. It's a sick obsession. It truly is, man. It's a very, very sick obsession of one other person's life because it's like they're in a way, in a perspective, it's like their lives have become so dull that they need to fixate themselves on someone else's, because they either lived it to this extent or whatever. But the reality of this is, imagine you're walking down the hallway, someone else is walking down the hallway. You've probably had different scenarios that happen um, prior to your targeting. Boom, here's the thing. The third party who is responsible for all of this are basically watching the inner changes of the environment you're in. They're watching the people who are within it. They're watching the people who are walking around it and everything that's happening around you. And they are consistently manipulating certain structures to mess with you. Remember, everybody's breathing this stuff in. Everybody has eaten the food that technically this stuff is laced with. So therefore, everybody else is just as vulnerable to this stuff as we are. So they could easily just as well turn this stuff on, activate it onto somebody, get them to act out at the last second, and then immediately back off once what was seen that was meant to be seen is already done, or what was meant to be heard has been heard is already done. All of this stuff is done with RF frequencies. What else? There's other ones too. There's RF, then there's subliminals, and a whole bunch more. This technology is extremely sophisticated for one, and it's very, very deceitful. In case you're wondering, this is actually being used to give these bastards the excuse to ask for more gun control. That is where this is leading to. So if they want the excuse, which they'll create, they'll hire private contractors to go out and about, and then they'll be using these frequencies to get people to act out. And then no one knows what's going on. And I call bullshit on that. There's no way nobody didn't notice any of this stuff that's been happening. There's no way nobody didn't see these bastards coming in and out of the area. That's impossible. There's too many people within the town. There's too many people within the neighborhood. The difference is people are being paid off to basically either be hushed up or they're being threatened. That's the bottom line. Now, if you looked at the Kanika Jenkins case, I know it's an old one, but I bring that one up because that one hit way too. I don't know if there may be another one out there that's similar to this situation, but that got so close to exposing this disgusting human trafficking psyop operations that it caught massive amounts of media attention. It caught massive amounts of domestic attention. Just people throughout the neighborhood in general. People were really trying to find the truth on this. And there was a lot of people getting behind it, but as well as, they're going to run psyops around certain things that have that much backing to actually expose a lot of stuff. Let me tell you the sad truth, dude. From what a lot of us have witnessed, these perpetrators are not shy about getting their own kids involved in this program. Look, man, every child deserves a parent, but not every adult deserves kids. Not every parent, or should I say, not every parent deserves children. I guess that would makes more sense. And it's sad too because like they don't know no better. They don't. They have no idea what's going on. They have absolutely no clue or none of the knowledge needed to understand what is happening in their environment. And I'm actually living proof that this stuff has happened. These scripted scenarios happen to me since, at least as far as I can remember, up in elementary all the way into high school, and now all the way up into my adulthood. Now, the way that they do this is these perpetrators will act out. They will act out publicly, do various things that are only unique to your perception because they've done it so continuously within your presence. So anybody else within the area isn't going to notice this stuff because they don't understand that that's happening. They don't get that. They don't know about that. So these bastards are going to rely on that in order to manipulate people to give them the wrong idea about you. Oh, he's crazy. Oh, he can't be trusted. Saying, in either oh, she's crazy or she can't be trusted, vice versa. It's the same old script, word for word, and it just doesn't end. It's always an excuse after an excuse, and it never. And I always just, something I always bring up the obvious. This is why they don't talk to me directly about this stuff, because I would ask them outright, what the heck is your motivation for constantly trying to drive my sense of character into the negative? Where the fuck is this coming from? That's my question, because it seems like, okay, 2 to 3 months ago there was this, and now we're here at at the present, and now it's some new shit. Like, when does it end? Like, for real, dude. When does it end? It's insane. And you see, it's just the take. It's a simply put it, it's a takedown program, dude. It's a takedown program run by this communist crap. That's just what it is. That's precisely what it is. There's been a lot of infiltration. There's been a lot of situational setups that have happened to use people's goodwill, I like to say, to actually fight this stuff and then change it over. So normally, whenever these stunts would happen, I would do narration over the vids that I make, right? Or the audio logs that I'll do. So now they don't like that. So now they want to change it up to, oh, well, he's just talking to himself. What? So you see how stupid this is? How many people you see on YouTube making videos, are you going to basically call them crazy? How many people, and how many people make parody vids? How many people started movies? So you're going to say the same thing about them? It's just bullshit logic, man. The whole thing is just complete BS all the way through. All of it is, man. So the stuff, as I stated before, the stuff is in just about everywhere you can possibly think of. The way to get the stuff out of your body is through an anti-nano bucket. What is that? I got the bottle right here. Just give me a second. Okay, potassium iodide, not iodine, iodide, hang on. That's IODIDE. Now, I watched the live stream of someone who was talking about that, and hold on. What was mentioned was that that's supposed to gather all of that nanoparasitic junk and force it out of your system. The other thing that I know that seriously works would be the Trilateral Commission. The Trilateral Commission, and I'm going to keep mentioning this because I know for a fact it works. I tested it out several times, and the results were phenomenal. This stuff just immediately gave this crap the boot, dude. So you want to take some dried seaweed, some dried beans, some what is that? Iodized or iodine, sea salt with iodine in it. And then mix all that up in a pressure cooker. I think, I don't know if I mentioned the brown rice. You need brown rice if I hadn't. So the rice, I believe, is for, the minerals or whatever. The seaweed is for the detoxification of the radiation, in case you didn't know that, seaweed has that capability. The beans are for protein, and the sea salt is the iodized sea salt is one of the key ingredients that will help kill this stuff off. Mixing all of these things up together is what's going to give you a compound that's going to immediately kill this stuff off. Now, the other thing is borax. If you wash your clothes, use borax. If you wash your clothes and dry your clothes, do not use an electrical washing machine. Do not use an electrical dryer. There's a good reason for this. If you had noticed, if you use an electrical a dryer that's electrical, you could take the shirts or whatever, right? Or even a sweatshirt, turn the lights off into a pitch black room, rub your hands across it. You don't even have to do this, but this is just so you can see it. If you rub your hands across the fabric, you will actually see the static electricity on there. You don't want that because technically that is what's the word I'm looking for? That is that's basically what's being used to reactivate this stuff. So you don't want to do that. You want to use, I believe that there's a gas powered dryer and a gas powered washer, judging from what Lookout for Charlie mentioned. So you would want to go that route. Now, you want to take detox baths. I recommend using soaps that do not have chemicals in them. Find something natural like Dr. Squatch. That's a pretty unique one to use, a pretty good one as well. If you're wondering about shampoo and conditioner, you don't like, even with Dr. Squatch, you can use that to wash your hair. But if you're wondering about the moisturization thing about your hair, use coconut oil. You can use coconut oil on your hair, and you can lather it up even on your body in replacement of lotion. I don't even recommend even using any of the lotions because, well, chemicals. Now, the reason why I say coconut oil is because, well, that's more natural. It's not chemical based, and not to mention, it has the capability to kill off fungus. One of the things about the stuff that they mentioned, when they bring up the stuff like Morgellons, is that it's a fungal type skin disease, right? So if coconut oil is a natural moisturizer, or can be used as such, and it has that capability, I'd say that's a win-win right there. Now, there's going to be another form of shielding. I've shared this before. It's the muscle toners. The muscle toners, those can be used as a portable ground because they have electrode pads. You do not need the sticky portion that will be on these things when you use this. So what you want to do is when you order these, you'll probably see a couple of them. There's many different ones. Now, one of the electrode pads, what you can do is take the center unit off of those, get a nano, get nano, but get some copper. You want to coil it around, make sure it's going to be on the metallic parts of where that device clips onto. You want to take that down, and then you can actually wear that on your body as a portable ground. And you can and trust me, the more grounds you have on your body, the more and more you're going to find that you're going to be cutting yourself off from them. I couldn't even believe it until I had actually figured it out for myself. But the earth, dude, God knew exactly what he was doing when he made the earth. It has that electrical magnetic energy within it. It's incredibly powerful that it immediately just blocks this tech off. I've used a frequency, a Rife frequency of the Earth's frequency, and it just shut everything off. I couldn't hear any of the stuff that they were using. I didn't even. I felt like more calmer, more natural. No bullshit. I got more sleep because of it, and I just couldn't believe it until I tried it, and sure enough, it worked. It actually freaking worked. So I have been trying to find some other targeted individual groups lately. I haven't made too much of an effort out on that because there's not too many of them out in the area that I'm at. I believe there's only at least maybe two or three. And unfortunately, the first one is somewhat they don't what I like to say is they don't have a method of direct contact to them, but at the same time they have reported incidences of infiltration. They have reported on stuff like that, and it just goes to show you it's just not that easy. It seems like channels on YouTube are being censored left and right. I mean, I can't believe the amount of channels that are gone. And in order to find those guys, you got to go on those other platforms, BitChute, Odyssey, so much more, a whole lot more. They may even be on TikTok, but I know what TikTok is, and I just choose not to use it. If that makes sense, I just choose not to mess with that because I know for a fact that that app has compromising stuff in it, and it's coming from China. And I've seen at least more than enough to know that China can't be trusted. I'm not going to say everyone in China can't be trusted, but I'll say that the people who are trying to fight this who are out there are heavily censored, dude. They literally had to sneak a vid out during the pandemic situation that was going on. They literally had to sneak a vid out just to get a word out to the outside that there are people there actually trying to fight this. Now, even with that being the case, let me tell you something. This stuff is so deceitful that you wouldn't even believe it until you actually seen it. Now, I've already talked about the dryer situation. I've already talked about how when you take your sheets out of the dryer, if it's an electrical dryer, it's going to have that static electricity, which technically can be used to activate this nano crap. So what they've done, not just with clothes, but with bed sheets too, they've actually used fibers that basically can be electrified. They used, fibers that can actually specifically pick up this electrical magnetic electricity. So the truth, the thing is, it goes even farther than that. It's not just in the fabrics, it's in the tags too. Some of these tags that you would find on the back of your shirt on the side somewhere are technically chips. I'm not joking. I've seen them. I've seen some of these things. A family member of mine actually gave me a pair of boxers a while back, and it had this squarish looking patch right on the back of it, and it was in position to where my spinal cord would be at, or at least towards like really like way back there, or whatever. And I couldn't figure out what that was. And it was just super odd, man. Then you got the women basically opening up these Victoria's Secret bras and they're finding tracking chips in those too. It's ridiculous. It's just completely and utterly ridiculous. And it's like people show this stuff to others, and it's just like it's just like my grandfather says, it goes in one ear and out the other. They see it, but then they just they somehow forget about it later on. And I know why that's happening. It's because it's this damn this RF frequencies being used. They're using it to basically deflect and distract people from the truth, getting them absorbed into their obsession, their daily routines, and to pay more attention to that and not into the reality of what's going on. This is what they want you to do. They want you to be they want your mind to be absorbed into these electronics. They want your mind to be absorbed into the internet of all things, and now onto what's really going on behind the scenes, what's happening around you, around everybody. They don't want that. They don't. No, not at all. And this is why they send these indoctrinated bastards out there to attack us the way that they do. Because first off, they sure as hell do not want truthers repopulating the world. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That's exactly what they do not want. They do not want cognitive thinkers, people who are going to question everything, to repopulate this earth. They don't want that. They do want these dumbed down idiots to repopulate the earth, though, people who they've got programmed. They don't mind that because it's basically people who've been programmed teaching the next generation who was scheduled to be programmed along. You see how that works? The cause and effect of that. So even if it's not the parents doing it, they're going to rely on even if it's not the parents doing it, they're going to rely on the babysitter to do it because now they've made it to where both parents have to work. You literally, in order to have a house, a car, and everything, you got kids and stuff. You got to have both the mother and the father working. So if they're not there to watch the children, to teach the children, then they got to rely on the stranger to do it, bro. I watched a video of a father confronting a damn teacher who put his son in a dress. I kid you not. You can search it up for yourself. It's there. These are the people who's supposed to be teaching the next generation. Like, dude, this is supposed to be the next generation who's supposed to be teaching. These are supposed to be teachers who are supposed to be teaching these next generation in order for them to function later on. But in the end, in these schools, you don't really learn anything really useful. There's only a few things you learn useful, but that's it. The rest of the stuff is just bullshit propaganda. All of it. They're talking about freaking Thomas Jefferson discovered America. How do you discover something that was basically already inhabited? It just doesn't make any sense. Then they say we derived from apes. If that's the case, why are apes still around? It just doesn't make any sense. And it seems like there's a lot of deceitful intent to hide the true history of things from us. Then if you go on a Plain Truths channel, you go to find out a lot of the stuff that came out now is technically pre-existing technology that they just introduced to a new generation that they kept from for several decades. Look, don't let this program discourage you from living your life. Don't let them take your happiness or your smiles away. You gotta fight. You gotta fight for that, dude. You gotta put the situation in a perspective to where you're not going to be manipulated by their behavior because that's what they rely on. They send people to your proximity. They run gestures to try to get you to react because you have been sensitized to react to those gestures. Remember, anything being shown to you, anything being said around you, any of these things that are, whether it's even true or not, is always going to have deceitful intent behind it. It doesn't make any difference because there's always deceitful intent in the very action of it being put before you. So the best solution is just to not play the game and to choose when the best time to actually react. And when you do react, you want to make sure that you do it in such a way that it basically pisses these people off to where they don't even want to do it again. And trust me, I've done that several times. When they do these things, they want you to be in an argumentative state. They want you to swear. They want you to curse. They want you to raise your voice. They don't want you to be respectful. They don't want you to get to start questioning things directly, such as, sir or madam, what is your motivation for doing this? Where's this all coming from? As far as I know, I've just been here minding my own business, and now all of a sudden you show up. Now there's a problem. Why? It's just that simple. It is just that simple. They don't make this easy, though. I tell you that much. I would love to go out there, settle down, probably find myself a decent woman. But, dude, I said a gesture to one female, and it wasn't even being flirtatious. Trust me. Trust me. If I was being flirtatious to a female, they know. They would know. I said something in a jokingly like manner, wasn't inappropriate at all. And boom, what did she do? And she did it in front of me too. She went right over to her handler. They had a little powwow. I didn't hear what was basically stated, but as soon as she came back, dude, she started acting in a skanky like manner, basically doing inappropriate things, saying inappropriate things, acting inappropriately, all for one thing. And I'm like, yeah, no, no. So if I don't basically go for the obvious setup like that, then they want to change the scenario. Oh, well, he must be a homosexual since he's not going for the females. Dude, I've seen women set up guys time and time again. Am I supposed to pretend like that hasn't happened? Am I not supposed to be? Am I supposed to just pretend that 100 and something men have been screwed over through these generations? No, no. I'm not saying there aren't any decent women out there, and I'm not trying to discourage anybody from trying to find a decent relationship. Do what you got to do to be happy, man. If you can find something like that and make it work, I wish you all the best. I say that's a huge win because that shows that despite these bastards trying to infiltrate every freaking thing, we still have the capabilities of actually having decent ties with women. That women can still have decent ties with men, and men can still have decent ties with women. It just shows that, it just does. But the way, dude, they in the end, they don't care about anybody, not even about the people they hire. And I can give you a really good example of that. These massive shootouts that we see, this nano domestic quail crap, dude, is completely the cornerstone of all of this stuff that's going on. All of it is. So if they cared about the people they hire off these streets, right? Let's just say that's the case, because in most cases, most of these people are just being controlled. But it's still a certain extent that they're not aware. They don't know that they're being influenced by, what behavioral modification technology. They're not aware of that. But that's what's happening. So if you're wondering why it's so easy for some of these people to be convinced to do what the dirty work that they're doing, that plays a part in it. So if they cared about the people they hire, how come the person who's being targeted is going to either a place of business or work of where they were perpetrated at, and they're blasting the people who they perceived who were basically effing with them? Can they explain that? That's a very solid argument right there. You think this freaking program cares about you? Why they got and again, going back to the Kanika Jenkins case, people who were, glimpses were caught of them on video during that whole incident. How come those guys ended up dead several months after, when people were snooping around and they were finding stuff out? People were getting close to the bastards who orchestrated that whole event, dude. And I guarantee you, there probably is other scenarios similar to hers. There's probably other situations, because if something like that happened, you best believe something else happened. I suspect they knew they effed up badly. They knew they did, and they ran as much they tried to run as much diversion as they possibly could to prevent people who they were secretly protecting from being caught. But dude, if for the people in the end, I don't show any anger towards anybody, because I know, despite all the crap that's happened to me thus far, they want to they want to do all this crap, try to let you know you're being watched. Let me tell you something. God is watching everybody, and he sees the dirty garbage that they're doing. And once judgment day comes, there's nowhere they can go to hide that from them. There's nowhere they can go to hide, and they're going to want to be as far away from any of us as possible when that day comes. No amount of money, no amount of technology will save them from that. They have the choice to literally change their evil ways, but they have to make the choice. This just leads me to believe, because at the end of the day, dude, these people, the ones who are behind this technology, the ones who are behind all of this mess, they're just human beings at the end of the day. But it just lets you know that evil has that much of a hold on them, that it could cause them to hurt another individual and just not feel or care about anything. Some people are so drug induced by this stuff that they don't even know what they're doing half the time. And one thing's for sure, from one TI to another, find hobbies, find something to keep your mind preoccupied, and don't stay fixated on this stuff for no longer than you need to. And in the end, if these shields want your attention that badly, make them work for it. Make them work for it, because think about it, the more and more they have to put in effort, the more and more they're technically exposing themselves. And think about it from this perspective. For instance, in fact, I'll even nah, I could turn on the cam, but I don't think I'm gonna do that right now. I could. I'll do it if it's needed. But one thing I do understand, they will probably try to run psychological operations just to get a reaction, even from that. So that plays into that part as well. That's one of the reasons why I don't prefer to really use the cam on the phone. Not to mention, I got a 360, so anything that's being done around me is basically going to be catched anyway. So I've already discussed about the majority of that stuff. So yeah, technically, from a relationship standpoint, I'm just at a stalemate or a standstill on this situation. Because in the end, like it's better to not play the game because you can't win anyway. I mean, let's say you go out and date one of the females they sent who was obviously a honeypot. Well, you get set up. She can basically just give off a false accusation, which they actually have had a woman do that before. So I'm like, you tried this same tactic, a couple of years ago. You think I'm gonna fall for it now? You stupid? No, no, man. That's just not gonna happen. No, but it's not easy. It really isn't, dude. Like they dude, they do you so dirty that they seek to just disrupt ties as much as possible. Even when I'm not even doing anything to attract a female, and there's a decent looking female within my proximity, it pisses them off. If I'm even conversating with her, it pisses them off. If she even comes to around me, it pisses them off. It's just so damn childish. And it's like, dude, you have your own life to live. Your own. Just answer one simple question. What is the obsession as to why all this attention is diverted to a single person? And I'm going to tell you why. A person who is wise enough not to follow tradition or follow just natural ways without questioning certain things of those, a person who doesn't have a one track mind, who isn't just going to follow anything, and they're going to ask questions and actually be wondering about the stuff that's going on, the interconnections, how this work, why it's just the way that it is. People like us are a threat to the stability of the system they've built. They know this. This is why they come after us, man. They've gone as far as to literally dig through our genetics to actually try to figure out psychologically, who's going to end up being like that and who isn't. Who's going to be a willing slave and who's going to be a badass who's basically going to not tolerate this tyrannistic crap. No, I will not be a willing slave to you. No, I will not submit to your one world order douchebag state of mindset. No, I will not consent to any of this indoctrinative garbage that you wish to unconsentingly push upon the people. No, I will not remain silent. I will continue telling the truth. And they can take this one world order and shove it where the sun doesn't shine. In the end, you got to go through life living in the moment. Because in the end, dude, in the end, we got to use the time we have wisely to do as much good as we possibly can. And entrust our predecessors, the next generation, those who will, succeed in our stead to do the same. We could say the same thing for people who have ended up dead over these years who have done nothing but tell the truth. It is because of their effort that we've got a little bit more freedom and a little bit more leeway than we did before. It may have been step after step, but it eventually gets so far to the truth that no amount of propaganda, no amount of any kind of bullshit would just basically dismiss it. And we're getting close to that time. This is why so much is going on. This is why so much effort, so much stuff is being pushed. This is why so much of this stuff is being implemented, in case you haven't noticed. So I'm just going to say this again for those who probably have missed out on it. This, the nano domestic quail would be the second video that I've uploaded. That's going to be the second one underneath the very first one when you look under my recent vids that were uploaded on the channel. So you would want to check that for that video. That's very important. You can watch the third video as well, which is also important because that speaks about the characteristics of the mark and how, and the lie that's being spread about some of these things, that if you take the mark, you can't basically undo what's been done. Not true. You can cut yourself off from these things and still seek salvation, but you have to be rid of that. You have to abandon all of those ties to Satan. You have to do that. Evil is a manipulator, and it seeks to use that of which you desire, of what you want, of what you cherish most, or what you're addicted to, in order to grab a hold of you. And then in the end, even those who even think that they're in a position above you, no, they're actually probably a lot farther from salvation than you are, considering the fact that they're working iniquity. And it's almost as if they're willingly doing it. But let's face the facts. Once you have people who are basically doing this geoengineering out and about, that stuff's not willingly. No, absolutely not. It is not done willingly at all. It's not. So the other thing I'm going to mention again, potassium iodide, not iodine, iodide. I'm going to spell that out for you all, because I want to make sure I have this at the beginning of this vid, or this live stream, and at the end. So potassium iodide, that's IODIDE. What that does, from what I've noticed on this live stream, it's supposed to pull these nano particles in a single spot, and it's supposed to exit out via your colon. The trilateral commission: dried seaweed, dried beans, brown rice, iodized sea salt. You put that in a pressure cooker, you cook it, this stuff will come, all this nano junk will come out of your stool dead. For me, I have got it extracted so much that even some of that stuff was still active when it basically got ejected out of my colon. Now, The anti-nano bucket is another thing that you can use to extract this stuff out of your system. That's yet another way to get it out of, to get all this garbage out of your body. Make sure you're writing these things down in case you haven't known any of these, because some of these things are known, some of them are not. The next thing is going to be, let's see, what was that other thing? The other thing is going to be coconut oil. Coconut oil is a natural moisturizer. You can have it for your hair. You can basically put it on your body in replacement of lotion and shampoo and conditioner. Shampoo, conditioner, and lotion and regular bar soaps have chemical compounds that are not healthy for you. And if you don't believe me, you can actually look on the nutrient facts on these things and see for yourself. They're going to have chemical compounds in them. So it's like I got an alarm going off. So now that that's out of the way, there's a little bit more I need to go over about the coconut oil. Coconut oil is a natural moisturizer, and it also has a detoxifiant capability with it, where it naturally kills off fungus. So it's a natural, it's a natural resource, right? So it would be better to use something natural that grows from the earth than something that's coming out of a freaking plant somewhere, or a factory, or even a lab, really. So when it comes to the Morgellons disease, people talk about how it's a fungal based skin infection, right? Well, there you go. You can use coconut oil to help deal with that. Now, other than that, borax. Use borax in replacement of detergent. Use borax in replacement of washing your clothes. Keep in mind, it's best to try to, if you can afford it, try to get fabrics that are made out of non-conductive fibers. I hate to break the news to you, but damn near everything that's made from out of China are basically made out of all conductive fibers. So if you're washing and drying, if you can even get your hands on this, make sure you use a washer that is gas powered. Make sure you use a dryer that is gas powered, if possible. They'll never hang your clothes out to dry, because remember, through geoengineering, this stuff is in the air current, so it's going to just basically get relaced with nano once you put it out there. The food, it's best to eat have food that is grown on the ground, such as your potatoes, your carrots, stuff like that. Unfortunately, all the greenery is going to be completely saturated with nano. All the berries, the strawberries, the blueberries, the raspberries, all that stuff is going to be saturated with nano particles as well. Food that grows above the surface, stuff that you can like peel a layer off, right? For instance, your bananas, your oranges, something like that would be okay, because at least the point is you want to detox more while reducing the nano delivery system from the food that you eat and the water that you drink. So that's one of the biggest things to keep in mind. That's why a lot of people don't realize, like, when you're detoxing, it's through the food that you're eating and the water that you're drinking, you're actually putting that stuff right back into your system. So before I end this stream, I'm going to get into the more effed up part about how this whole thing works. With the food that you're eating, the water that you're drinking, the oxygen that you're breathing, this stuff is infecting your system. Now, what does it do when it gets into your system? What it's doing is basically, collecting itself into a single point, and then it's going to basically spread itself out throughout your body's nervous system, and it's going to create its own biological nervous system that's linked onto your nervous system. This is in everybody, okay? It's in everybody because of this bullshit that they're doing. So whenever they activate this stuff with these signals from these devices, such as a cell tower, a drone, satellite, anything like that, right? That is what's going to be used to induce these attacks. It's going to be used to cause people to flip out and do things by its own design. So let's say if someone wants an excuse for gun control, well, they can basically use these to basically manipulate the people to give them that excuse. You notice, if you haven't noticed, look at the recent shootout that happened in Texas not too long ago, and just look at all the people who are coming out speaking about the situation. Celebrities, right? They got these celebrities coming out of the woodworks talking about that. That's a psyop. That is a psyop for gun control. And you're gonna watch every single one of them, damn near every single one of them who are coming out, even the president too, are all gonna say the same thing: gun control, gun control, gun control, gun control. And it's not. It's just gonna be repetitive. And they rely on the fan base behind these people to go along with that. They do. They really do. Now, I need to get back on topic for what I was talking about. Okay. So when it's in your body, it forms it forms a biological nervous system attached onto your nervous system. Understand when a female becomes pregnant, the food she ingests, the water she drinks, the air she breathes are all interconnected with the unborn child. I hope you're listening here because this is extremely important. Those nanoparticles that are coming from the food, those nanoparticles that are coming from the water, all little stuff that's coming from every little thing that the mother is interacting with while she's pregnant is infecting the child, and nobody is aware of this. That's the catch. She's not aware of it. Everybody, and those who are aware of it, are staying silent about it. I hope people are understanding how effed up this really is, because that's precisely what's happening. That's why it's so easy for them to program kids, dude. That's why it's so easily to program adults. I would say I don't even trust the hospitals anymore, dude. I don't. Because you ever notice that when a child is born, they have that room where they keep all the newborns in? How do you not know that they're not running subliminals in that damn room? They've been so secretive about a lot of other stuff. How do people not know that that's not happening? And so now we get into the more fucked up parts about this. A child grows up, and I'm living proof of this, starting from at least elementary, from what I can remember. The program starts. It's the same scripted bullshit. They'll talk shit about the way I walk because I'm being hit with these RF frequencies. And they'll come up with any kind of scenario they can possibly think of. It's just a takedown program. They'll use this on kids, man. They will do that. They will literally fucking do that and pretend as if they're not doing anything wrong. So these are the people that we're supposed to trust. Are you effing kidding me? Are you a person would have to be completely brain dead, completely out of their mind to think that anybody who even would even do such a thing can be trusted. Ridiculous. Just unbelievably ridiculous, dude. Oh, okay, good. I had to test the mic to make sure. I would have been pissed off if I was technically muted this entire time. But it looks like this thing's going around smoothly. But yeah, that's how they got this stuff set up. So whenever I see this stuff, and whenever I see them trying to reassure people to keep playing the system, keep playing in its favor, I laugh because it's so ridiculous. The same people who fed you this bullshit are the same people who are screwing you over while setting you up at the same time and patting you on the back by basically doing their bidding. Why are people so consistent with being the system's bitch? It's a part, and it makes sense. It's just a part of the damn programming. That's exactly what it is. But you must understand That programming's dangerous, man. It is. It makes these people dangerous to themselves as well as the people around them. But at the same time, it's not their fault. The same could even apply to us in a way because we're also affected by this stuff. But at the same time, it's not our fault. We don't tell these bastards to come out here and do what they do. They choose to do what they do. And in the end, they hide behind the scenes, not bearing responsibility for the consequences that happen. They don't care if people get killed behind this crap. They don't care if people die because they look at all of us as freaking cattle. That's what it is. That is precisely what it is, man. That's why I'm too afraid to even have kids of my own in this generation. I'd rather not. But that's me. That's how I feel about it. I don't want to discourage anybody else from having their own. I'm just saying at least know better and be smart about it if you make that decision. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who don't know any better because they've been so duped down and dumbed down by the system that they don't, that they actually think the wrong things that are out there are the right things. But, this stuff has been indoctrinated for so long, people don't know. People just don't know. And it all stems right back down to that one single thing. They didn't bother to question all the things they were led to believe since day one. With that, I'm ending this live stream. I highly encourage you all to check out those recent vids that I posted, preferably the most recent two, especially the one before the last one you will see on the listings. It should be underneath the very top one. It'll say classified documents exposed. That's what you would want to see. Shortly, I'm going to, sometime later on, I'll probably gather up the links and put them there so you all can actually find this stuff for yourself. But yeah, I think I might do another live, not today, maybe sometime later on this week or so. But yeah, with that out of the way, I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Stay safe out there and stay strong.